it went the full 5 rounds. The over-under was 2.5, Zach. I feel like I should have put my whole house on that because I feel like that was a guaranteed fight to go over 2.5 rounds. Nevertheless, Stipe scared me in the second, but nevertheless, the main event, the trilogy, it came to a conclusion. It was over. DC's last fight, his last run, his jog to the cage. Stipe listened to some beast music, looking super skinny, man. Holy moly, my man was lean. He had his cardio. He had his hair. He brought everything to the table. He was ready for this fight, and it was a war. It was a war. The first round was debatable. A lot of people gave it to DC. I think I gave it to Stipe. The second round, I think, is the one where Stipe clipped him, got on top of him, and almost finished him at the end of the round. And the third round, I think, was the eye poke, which is the most controversial thing. And it seems like eye pokes just follow DC around wherever he goes, whether he's the opponent or he is the aggressor involving the eye pokes. So they got the eye poke. It was bad. Mark Goddard completely missed it. Complete huge botch by Goddard. It happens. It is what it is. His eye was already puffy and compromised before the eye poke. The eye poke just made it worse, and I think he has a torn cornea or something, so he was seeing black. So that kind of messed it up. And my friend who was over loves DC, and he thought DC would have won the fight if the eye didn't get compromised. I disagree. I thought Stipe was going to win that fight no matter what. I thought it would have been like a super close 3-2 fight if DC was not compromised with the eye, and he agreed with me. I'm like, dude, I think it would have been just razor thin close, and Stipe just edged it out. Plus, Stipe's the champion. So you gotta factor that. Even though people don't want to factor that, you gotta factor that. And Stipe performed better in the championship rounds. So you got to give that as well. And DC usually takes off the third. So, you take that when you win. I look at the score. I think they gave it 4-1 at the end in favor of Stipe, who retained. Stipe looked great. I think this is the best Stipe I've seen. He looked great at this weight, lean. He adjusted his grappling, his underhooks when in the wrestling game. It was a beautiful thing to see. DC, no takedowns for some reason. I don't know if he has a back problem. Maybe he has really bad lower back issues. I don't know if his knees are shot, but he just decided to be in there and George Foreman it a little bit and kind of do his thing and work it a little bit, but it just wasn't enough. And Stipe was just a little sharper, a little crisper. Francis Ngannou said DC looked like he didn't want to be in there at sometimes. I don't know about all that, but DC looked like he did lose a step. I mean, he didn't look like the DC that fought that fought Miocic the first 2 times. I think that little layoff did affect DC, but I got to give credit to Stipe. Dude's a beast. Greatest heavyweight ever, 8-1 since May 2015. He's just knocking dudes out, and he's gonna face Ngannou next. Cannot wait.
But yeah, it was a good fight. I personally had the scorecards of watching the fight. After watching it, I thought it was 4-1 to Stipe. I believe DC took the first round quite convincingly. 10-9, wobbled Stipe. Second round, we see Stipe just spamming right hooks, just nearly finished him at the end of that round.
Yeah.
And similar to Ferguson Gaethje, that kind of set the tone of the fight after that. Stipe started to take over. Although he couldn't take Cormier down, I think he had like 100% takedown defense. I believed he won the latter, all the rest of the rounds, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of in cruise control, doing what DC did to him in the other 2 fights, actually outstriking him.
Yeah.
Maybe DC didn't want to wrestle because he didn't want to get too tired. With a fight like that, you need all the energy you need, that focus. And why wrestle someone, sort of like Colby Usman, why wrestle someone who's got exactly the same wrestling as you? And it's not a guarantee you can overpower them, like with previous opponents, like Rumble Johnson, for example, where DC capitalized on that, and Derek Lewis. So I believe, fair enough, because DC probably thought he was better at the striking, and the past 2 fights are certainly in his favour for that. But, that jab, that right hand, was really crisp from Stipe.
I think, is Stipe the most underappreciated champion ever?
I would have said before, yes, but I think now that he's won, everyone has to recognise him as the heavyweight GOAT, and I think they are.
Yeah, and if he beats Ngannou again...
Yeah, I mean, I think, before we get carried away with Ngannou, just, back on the fight quickly, I mean, I think it was a great fight. I mean, a lot of karma went DC's way with that eye poke. It was unfortunate. Yes, it did hinder his performance. Of course it did. And who knows what would happen if he didn't have that. But, I still think Stipe would have, won. He was looking like he was in cruise control. And obviously in the latter rounds, if it's even, we already know in Vegas, they give it to the champion anyway.
Yep.
With the odds and everything. But looking at to where I think DC's retired, especially after that, for now at least. The only way he said is like he's fighting for a belt, but he doesn't see that anytime soon. The only thing I can see him coming back is to fight Jones for a lot of money. But I'm not going to get too carried away from that because he's retired. Let him just enjoy it, be out of the spotlight for a while, go home with his family. And on to Stipe Ngannou, you know, I'm going to back Stipe again. I think Stipe beats Ngannou. I think, and don't get me wrong, Ngannou has improved since that loss. But name one thing that you've seen how Ngannou has adapted his game since that Stipe loss. I can't. It's just all of his fights, like before the Stipe fight and after it, it's just been stand-up, quick knockouts. We haven't seen Ngannou actually been able to showcase anything else, and that's fair enough. He's been taken down or this or that, but we haven't really seen him adapt his game. He's just sharpened his main tool, and which is fair enough. If he's got a one-trick pony and it works, then fair enough. But I just don't think you can just get onto that level of wrestling, especially when you have limited experience on it, as he did. You know, he's only been in the sport for 6-7 years,
right?
And it's elite wrestling. It's sort of with Conor Khabib. Elite wrestling is the most important thing in MMA, and it's you just can't learn it overnight to a level at what someone like Stipe is. And you know, Stipe can go in that press conference and say, you know what, I'm just going to use the exact same game plan, and it could work. We've seen Stipe's got an iron jaw. We saw the shots in that last night where DC was delivering, and he was just taking it like it was nothing.
Right.
And I'm just going to pick Stipe again for that. He's on cloud 9, and he's one of those champions where he doesn't think he's untouchable, sort of like Adesanya. He knows every fight's a challenge, and he just knows his worth, sort of. But yeah, great trilogy fight. Sad to see DC go out like that, but it's part of the game.
Unfortunately, I wonder. John Jones was definitely watching that and trolling, saying he's ready for heavyweight now.
We did, yeah.
Kind of ridiculous, but it is what it is. Like, I cannot wait. I can't believe Francis was like, I think we need to have Stipe Ngannou too in December. I'm like, are you crazy? Stipe just went through another 5-round war. He needs to recover. Unfortunately, that fight's not going to happen probably until next year.
You said Francis said they won Stipe Ngannou.
Yeah, Francis wants Stipe Ngannou number 2. He wants the rematch in December. Stipe just went through a war, bro. Like, and it's August, September, October. He needs 2 months to. No way, dude.
No wonder he wants in December. It's so short.
He wants to get him while he's a little fucking, soft. It's not going to happen. That fight's going to happen next year.
Heavyweights fight, especially the champion fights, once a year, twice
a year. Tops.
I don't think that fight's going to happen this year. Stipe needs time with his family. He's going to go off. Of course, Ngannou's going to want to fight. He's seen agitated when he doesn't fight for a while. He wants to be fresh and all that, but Stipe is the A side for a reason, and let him take his time off and get prepared for the fight.